Call the meeting to order.
Jenkins?
Here.
Harden?
Here.
Vaughn?
Here.
Kinley?
Here.
Pearl?
Here.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There being no proclamations or public comments, the first thing on our agenda this evening is the consent agenda.
We could make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll say
Call it.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Harden?
yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Kinley?
Yes.
Pearl?
Yes.
Motion carried.
There being no unfinished business, we move to section 3, new business.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 924 for parking schedules.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Where'd this come from?
We've had complaints mainly about boats that are parked out on the city right-of-way. Our ordinance that we currently have does not cover boats. So when I started checking around with what other towns have, when they do boats, they do the recreational vehicles as well. So, and we have had some problems where they are wanting us to try to get the boats off the streets. So if you're going to cover one, you just take care of everything at once instead of hodgepodge. So,
Well, how are you going to enforce it?
well, that'll be up to the police department to determine how they're going to do the enforcement. I don't
Because
think
it's
they're
going
gonna
to
do
be by them going out and doing it and saying, I don't know if it's just like cars that aren't running, nothing will ever happen to it.
If they do it off of a complaint, someone coming in and complaining about it, then I would say that that's the way to take care of it. That's how other ordinances have been dealt with.
City right away, that's on the street, right?
Yes.
So if they get in their front yard, it's not the street, or do they have to have it in their rear yard or the side like you got, like it's for that?
Well, some towns have said that you have to have it to the side. You can take this ordinance and you can tweak it however you want before you pass it. It's out there, you know, you bring these things around the table for discussion. I can tell you that there's, you know, one boat in particular that people have complained about time and time again. And we can't do anything about it.
Well, that's my question. There's some of them, there's some people that don't have a rear yard or can get to the rear yard and they got it in their front yard.
I guess depending on how you want to do it, Pat, you know, you say, well, then you need to get storage space.
Isn't, did this kind of get prompted by blocking the sidewalk?
There are at least two boats that are somewhat on sidewalks.
One of them on South Plum.
There is a boat on South Plum that's been a continual issue, yes. That would be one that would be addressed.
Immediately.
We've had numerous complaints about that boat.
Does this cover sidewalks?
Well, you're not supposed to obstruct the sidewalk.
There's already
State statute says that you're not supposed to obstruct the sidewalk. We kind of deal with that on many different issues.
Okay. So it's just going to have sum it all up.
Right. They can move the boat off of the sidewalk, and I can't go down there and tell you right now that it's necessarily obstructing the sidewalk, but they can move the boat a little bit, and size-wise, if it was to fit in there, and then we wouldn't be able to have any kind of enforcement action.
Let me bring something up to you guys if you don't understand. Home rule. I've always been a big proponent of home rule. And home rule would be something, if we passed home rule in this town, not that things would change as they are right now until things are changed here, but you would have more power to do that here by doing it. You could sit there and say, you can't have that there at all. It's got to be covered up.
Well, I'm also looking at the fact that if you got people that are sharing driveways and they do have a boat there or something like that, we got to keep it 3 foot off the line. We might be giving it to a neighbor right now, but if you got a new neighbor, you got a big You know, get a cat fight on campus. I mean, it's,
Do we have anything in place now that can address that one particular boat we're talking about?
No. There are sections about that a boat must be able to be powered under its own power. That makes sense. It's a sailboat, so it doesn't have a motor on it. Trailer currently has valid registration on it, so we don't have any enforcement tools for that one particular boat. And this is not necessarily to single out that one particular boat. There are more boats out on the city street that have not moved all summer.
My only concern is I know where there's one, I guess it's a recreational vehicle, and he's not blocking a sidewalk, but in all honesty, he has no other place to go. So I don't know.
Well, the sad part about it is if you try to fix one side of it,
Yeah.
there might be some fallout on the other. It's out there for your review.
so we can table this and tweak it up a little more.
Sure.
Any other discussion? There would have to be a
I would
motion.
move to table ordinance 924.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion of that?
I just add that, bring me back some of your ideas or whatever. Or if you want to throw it in the trash can, you have the right to do that.
Well, I agree.
We
Something
need
needs to be done,
something.
but-
I'm just, like I said, in that one particular case, he has no choice. In the other case, I think they do have a choice, they just choose not to. They have to use, good judgment, otherwise we just,
Not to be nitpicking on certain ones, we just need to get this to where it goes with everybody.
On tabling ordinance 924, parking schedules, call it.
Hardin,
yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes,
Jenkins,
Yes.
motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 925, fences.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Where'd this come from?
This is because we're having issues with, we don't have a local ordinance in place, so everything goes through DeWitt County zoning. Because we don't have anything in place, he doesn't realize where our utilities are. He'll go ahead, he'll sign off on, allow people to put up fences, and then our meter readers can get to where they need to get to be able to read the meters. Line crew, they're getting blocked out in our alleys because of fences that are being built on East Green down behind Rennie Holmes last year. There was a power issue down there. The issue was behind Rennie's, but they had to get into a neighbor's yard, caused some extensive damage because the truck kind of bogged down there, tore up a neighbor's yard so they could go behind somebody else who put up a fence. So we're trying to get, and I talked with the county zoning officer, knowing that if we have some type of an ordinance in place, that before he gives the final passage, he'll come and check and make sure that it's good with us.
Yeah, I had firsthand. You had an issue on Market Street at one time, same situation.
We had there's a fence at the corner of Lincoln and Water, and they were changing zoning officers at the time. One had left, they brought in a younger fellow. We objected to the fence being where it was because if you're northbound on Lincoln and you look back to the east, that fence obstructs, and we didn't have anything in place that granted permission to put that fence up.
So this is going to be for all future fences, not for what's already up.
That's correct.
Is there something we could do about current fences that are up?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And the other thing I'll throw into this too is the alleys are something, we have a lot more alleys than people realize in this town. And I think we need to start looking at making sure those things are open and get them open and get contact the homeowners and stuff if they've got something hanging out back there or sitting back there, make sure. Now, I know we're going to say, well, you maintain it. Yeah, to a point, we will, but also you maintain it too, keeping it open, because you realize, the other thing too is if we do have an ice storm, be the best way that you're going to find out whether you got an alley or not. You're going to be the last one that's going to get fixed, because we have to crawl a pole or whatever, so I go into your yard. We're not going to come in there maybe until it gets a little more frozen or a little whatever. But I would sit there and point that out to them. But I think somewhere around the line, whether it's Rick, whether it's water superintendent, whatever, you need to start getting that taken care of.
Well, Rick had actually told me a couple of weeks ago that there was a fence that was going to be built because he had gotten a Julie on it, and that he's got power lines back down through this particular backyard, and he was concerned that if this fence, and it's a privacy fence, if it was to be built, that the guys wouldn't be able to get back in there and service that power line back in through there. So, I mean, we are trying to address an issue that comes up quite frequently, actually. So
We want to save our alleys.
Yeah. I think it'd be a safety issue also, other than power.
And there again, the zoning, Mike Bradford has told me that, if we have passage of a local ordinance and he's aware of it, that he'll make sure that he comes in and checks before he gives any permission at their level. So you see that, we're not charging a fee or anything, but we want to know what's going on.
I think we should know what's going on and everything like that.
Any other discussion? Call it.
Han,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'd like to make the motion to approve resolution 2013-23, West Street Underground.
I'll say.
Discussion.
What brought this up?
This is a project that has been in the works for many, many years, going back to the Don Crawford administration. And there's 200 blocks of West Street that Mr. Schwartz is going to pay to have underground service put in. He's paying for the entire thing. He's been paying for engineering all the way. He's paying to have the contractor come in. He's paying for all the materials.
So the numbers you got quoted on this resolution, would you like to pay for?
No. That's the start of it. This is our part. Talking with Rick, Rick said that he would like to see this be a complete package. And on the page 2, where that STR7, that's the stopping point or the beginning point, however you want to look at it. That is where Mr. Schwartz is going to begin his underground project. Rick would like to see this phase taken from that STR7 into the substation of the light plant. That'll make that entire feeder. Is that feeder 4, Rick?
Yeah, that section, and take it from Allen Street to Water Street.
So that'll make that entire feeder an underground line. And it'll all be a new, obviously it'll be new, basically maintenance free.
Now, your STR is that's where the light plant's at?
No, that's the pole. That is the last pole.
About where Jim Hudson lives.
There's a driveway there, the back of that Beasley house. There's a pole there, and that would either be, however you want to look at it, that would be our beginning point.
And we're going to go...
We're going north to the light plant. Now, the time to do this is obviously when L.E. Myers, the industrial contractor, is in town. And we don't have to pay for them to come to town. That's already been paid for. So we would have our engineering and our time and materials. That's what these are estimates from DHMG.
You just wanted to add on to what he's going to do.
Correct.
And why does he want to do that?
He does not like poles.
Other questions or discussion?
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Han,
Yes.
motion carried.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2013-24, for Pharmacy Garden Club.
I'll second it.
What is the levy? How much is the levy? How much per dollar spend or per room night?
I'm sorry.
What is the levy?
I'm not sure how the hotel motel tax, what that rate is. Yeah,
Yeah, what?
It's a percentage.
Yeah.
I'd have to,
What
I'd have to,
percentage it is?
no, I'd have to.
2, 3, 4%, something like that, I assume.
Be pretty minimal. And this is something that we basically do each year, reimbursing for their flowers.
Any discussions? Call it.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Han,
Yes.
McKinley,
This moves us to section 4, other items, the city manager's report.
There's just a few things on here. On July 18th, the EPA was out and they inspected the public water system, and they did find some areas of concern at the water treatment plant and in the water system. Some of that being some permits that had not been followed up on and completely obtained. There is a list coming out of those concerns, and I'll pass them on to you as soon as that's documented. Obviously, it's stuff that needs to be taken care of. Some of it is going to cost a couple bucks, and some of it's just paperwork. We're still fighting with the contractor, Bridgeway. They're the contractor out the farmland rest area. I've reported to you before about the pumps that had been damaged. And late today, I got an email from IDOT saying that they had established a meeting with the insurance carrier for Bridgeway. So next Tuesday, we're going to meet out at the rest area, and we're going to try to come up with some type of resolution for this. Obviously, nobody wants to assume the blame for our motors being damaged at the lift station. And with that, I had been asked a question, and I don't know if I answered it properly at the last council meeting. I was asked if there were backup motors for that particular lift station. There are backup motors. They've been mounted with a base that does not properly sit down inside that lift station wet well. They talked with the design engineers. They're saying that the easy way to fix it is to get in there with a hammer and a chisel, knock a little bit of the concrete wall out to get it to sit down on the mountings properly. There is a gentleman here in town that is the local representative of the company that sold us the pump motors and the bases, and he's trying to come up with a base that will actually sit down in there. So not to answer that question incorrectly last time.
The contractor, they're questioning that they're the cause of the pumps going bad? When you're finding towels coming down there?
Yes, rag mop heads, yes.
And who else is on that line?
They are the line coming down. They are it.
Are they the only ones on that line coming into that
No.
lift station?
The only other ones would be Maxwell counters. The building out there, the old potato chip factory, is on because they're the ones that get the backflow whenever the sewer backs up.
Let's mark their mop heads.
Excuse me?
We'll coat their mop heads.
There we go. But they are, at the last I talked to them, they decided to get away from the rag mop heads and go to sponge mops. So evidently they're starting to believe that they may be the ones doing it. Fred Granning reported today that the spray patching crew is going to start this week. Farnsworth Group got a hold of them, kind of like to get it done before school starts. You'll see that there is a pre-construction meeting with Ileana on this Thursday here in City Hall. That's to discuss the asphalt overlay, and they got the award for the oil and chip as well. Something that had been discussed at previous city councils, a little bit at this one, is a walkway or pathway or whatever out to the subdivision, and I told you that I would check on it. The rough estimate came in. You see there's a price tag of approximately $58,000 attached to it. That's a pretty hefty chunk for sidewalk, but it's well over 2,000 feet from the end of Municipal Drive out to Oval Drive. Pretty good jog out there. We do have $30,000 set aside from the state of Illinois, so there's $28,000 shortfall that we would have to pick up with.
Can
And
TIF 2 be used for that?
it could be. We would have to reimburse it eventually. Now, keep in mind, and I don't have any proposal here, but the $30,000 from the state of Illinois, you know how fast you get money from the state. So you obviously have to spend up front and then wait for the money to come back.
You'd have to reimburse TIF the $30,000.
Whatever the whole 58 until the 30 came in. So
Now, where would the sidewalk be? Which side of the highway?
the north side of the highway is how it's been is being.
And how would you take it down from, you're going to go across the Maxwell Yard, across Kings, you're going to go across?
It would be on the IDOT right away, right on the north side of the ditch.
Which is, so you're going to take it, so it's going to go past Randy's property, you're going to take it all the way?
Yes,
That's what I was gonna ask, you can't go through any property, or you have to go down and go across?
it would be out on the
So-
right away.
How far off of that right of way goes, how far off the road? The edge of the road, let's say, roughly.
I don't know, I just realized that IDOT has been out there and they have given the preliminary blessings on doing it. So
And that is what?
they don't have any objections to having the sidewalk on their right of way. It has to be engineered, and then you take it back to them, and then their engineer up in Peoria would give the final okay.
So the 58,000 encompasses what? Concrete engineering?
Total.
Talk to those people out there about that?
No,
Maybe not to.
just throwing it out to you guys to see, whether to go any farther with it. So this is just to let you know right now what's coming in at.
Can we get an
Now,
idea?
I'm sorry, but when you say talk to those people out there, the ones at the subdivision, the folks that live out there would like to have the sidewalk so they can get their kids and everybody back in town and stay off the highway.
Was the sidewalk initially supposed to be set behind that subdivision to come up to, I think, Water Street at one time?
Yeah, it makes it twice as long or 2.5 times as long.
But there's no IDOT to deal with it.
That's correct. If this is a straight shot, it's a shorter distance, so.
I guess I'm thinking about encompassing, that Water Street into that subdivision. That's good. If the Water subdivision does, the land does come up to that, correct?
Yes.
And there has
Yes.
been that thought of
Clear
bringing it
about
out
it.
there.
Mhm.
So maybe the preliminary is to think of that too, and also maybe see if the cost. would-
And
also to talk to.
And I have a little bit of the feedback that I got is people walking out through there when it's planted in corn and the isolation of, what could happen out there in the dark. We're not going to have street lights. So I did get some feedback on some of that. So, and then I went this avenue to get a price. So this is a price. This is letting you know. Andy came in and said that he thought that there was a problem back in the office, and he had been having some headaches, and some of the other guys had been talking, and got looking back in there. When it rains cats and dogs, the water comes off the roof and it runs into the office back there. There's actually mold that's growing back there on the walls. So got a hold of Danny Shuffler here in town. He's going to change the guttering and the downspout back there so it just doesn't dump on the ground and get it out here on the city street. Then we're going to have to investigate how to get that drywall out there, pull that insulation out, and try to get rid of that mold. There is an annexation agreement for South Park that has been prepared. I'll bring that to you. It came in after the agenda was done. I'll bring that to you at the next meeting for you to look at, consider.
I'll bring a map too and show them what it's going to, what the contingency is.
Okay. And the last thing that you see there is that I have had some conversations with a contractor who wants to build new houses out at the subdivision. He's very interested about 4 houses, 5 houses. He'd like to have a model house using some some furniture from K&S Furniture, set it up for display. He's very interested in it, and I've contacted him with some people financially that might be able to assist him. So, be nice to get some houses built.
Is it the same contractor that was before?
No.
Any questions to the city manager and or his report?
On the rest area problem we're having here, if we do not get it resolved, they don't want to feed in, does the city have to have them come into ours, have the sewer come into us?
I believe that if you go back and look, that there were agreements signed by, it might have been Mayor Miller years ago, and we are to provide them with services for sewer and water both. But that would be a little researching to make sure on that.
I think it is.
On the sidewalk issue, I guess I'm drawing a blank here. The city, or the IDOT right away, I think it was like 18 foot or something on the edge years ago, whatever it was.
Well, they actually measure from center line.
Center line.
Yes.
The sidewalk, I guess I'm trying to picture where would it go through repairing property is, I mean, because them and Maxwell's trees come across the ditch. Would we actually have to get up there on their property for the sidewalk? Do we have to talk to them too?
From what I saw, well, if it's on IDOT right away, then it,
Yeah.
obviously they need to know that if it's something that you decide to do. But down in through that area, there's that large fence and all that has overgrown. It looks like on the back side of the ditch that there would be room for a 4-foot sidewalk to go right down through there. So it would just be in there, it just looks like it'd be a matter of shading some of that back, cutting it correctly, and there's where the sidewalk would go. Now, there again, it hasn't been designed path.
Right,
so
right.
It's just all ideas.
Right. For the people that's out there, that's why I was close.
Right, and maybe, maybe you don't want to spend that kind of money on sidewalk. So I don't know how much it would be used. I have seen, the day that I took the engineer out there were 2 little kids riding their bicycle down Route 54. So,
Any other questions to the city manager's report? Which direction would the council like to see the city manager go in regards to the sidewalk?
I'd like to see a sidewalk out there, but I don't be real leery about tearing up, these people's
Right.
whatever.
Even though it is right away, and there is a legal right to go and do that.
you can go, and there again, and I don't know, Rick's here, maybe it's such a thing that we could get a couple lights back in there. If we went back in through that field, I think that people would feel a lot safer. Because there again, I don't know if kids are going to use it, who's going to be using it if it's back through the fields.
Well, I like that idea too, because they've been kind of wanting a walking path, and maybe we could make it a little better than 4 foot.
Are you looking at a cost much greater than $60,000? I mean,
Have to start getting some measurements.
If you're talking double, yeah, probably.
And
so
do
you're
one-
talking $120,000 or more with lights.
Is there room for a sidewalk north of the highway there? That's my question, without
From-
tearing.
From the way it looked, and when I had someone with me from Farnsworth and Wiley, Farnsworth Group, they thought that there was, yes. They have but they have the plans from IDOT, so it appeared that, yes, there was. The email that I got was, do you want to go any farther with this? Do you want to try something else? And I told them that this was something that had been talked about, had been wanted before, and so I'm just trying to follow up on just one of those open projects.
Correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing is a major objection is that we get at least the approval of those homeowners on Route 54, correct?
I think we can talk to them.
So, as in regards to direction, I recommend that we, at least for now, give Larry direction to speak with those homeowners and to at least get their feedback on this. if it's a go there, then, we can discuss this further. If it's not, we can also discuss possibly going West Street direction, so. Council,
That's fine.
very good. All right. Any non-agenda items and other business?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
First of all, you had said, you said something here in your statement about how much the sidewalks used. It really makes no difference how much the sidewalks used. There should be sidewalks every place. I'm going to go over on William Street where they replaced that bridge. Now, maybe you weren't a part of that. I don't understand why they replaced the bridge the way they did. They didn't put guardrails up, do an open box culvert or something, made it somewhat like it was going back. It's a piece of crap as far as I'm concerned. Took the sidewalk bridge out. I don't know why that was done. I think that needs to be put back in. I know on Main Street, if it hadn't been one construction worker that was from here and said, I think they want to have a sidewalk back in there. They don't want that bridge taken out because they took that out. And they changed things around. I was just after I got out. But,
And there wasn't going to be any guardrail on Main either.
That's right.
And I argued about guardrail. No, design, I didn't have anything to do with the design. That was between, there again, someone else and the county highway engineer.
But nonetheless.
And then that project went on for a long time. When I came in, there was a question raised about sidewalk, and you're not supposed to put sidewalk on. Because it's not designed to have sidewalk, and it's not designed to have guardrail,
Okay.
then the county engineer, and this is who it came from, Willard, the county engineer said, when you start altering the design of how it's intended to be, you raise a liability.
Oh my God, the liability's there right now.
Well, that's
I think the thing of it is, okay, well, my point is this, Larry. Why don't we look at doing something about that? We're through with the engineer. We had to take that taken care of. And also the sidewalk that goes across there too, to put that bridge back in some way. I would think that would be, it was a concrete abutment at both ends with angle iron in there and concrete it down. It could be that simple.
I can see about just getting a sidewalk to cross the drainage ditch.
Now, I think, and maybe also we talk about cleaning up the right of way too. That down there, that right of way on that sidewalk is not in good shape. It needs to be cleaned up.
But the design of it, you cannot attach a guardrail to it.
No.
And if you look at the one side of it, you'll see that it's tweaked a little bit. I don't know if that was during installation or what, but if you go and look at it, and you look at the east side and you compare it to the west side, you'll see that one of those side walls is tweaked a little bit. And they're saying that box culvert is aluminum, and they built it there, and that it is not designed to hold the guardrail. So, and because I did check on guardrail.
This was brought up a problem when we first came on. We brought that
I
particular
think it was
bridge.
probably one of the first things that was thrown out on the table.
But we could do it in some other way. Is there some other way that we could
It
go
would
about
have to
doing it?
be a freestanding sidewalk, right?
When I'm talking about the sidewalk that has nothing to do with that bridge.
I don't know.
There needs to be a sidewalk that went across that ditch independently from that, and it can come back and be there again.
You can look at that and get it.
Yeah, we can look at an independent sidewalk going across there.
I'm not talking about on the bridge itself. I don't care about it. But that, how that sidewalk used to be.
Yes.
Yeah. And years gone by, when that bridge, when that was initially done like that, it was all encompassed into one concrete pour probably, but it doesn't have to be now. It could be its own independent pour.
I don't know why it got changed. I don't know.
I don't either.
Somebody wanted to save a buck or something. Who knows? I don't know.
The group didn't fight hard enough to get it done the right way. Okay, next thing I have is, dump truck was out on Saturday. What was going on?
Andy Deno and myself was cleaning that highway right away. So we had the backhoe out and the dump truck
And why was that? Why were we cleaning it?
because it doesn't look attractive to the community, so we were cleaning it.
I guess I have a problem with the truck being out on Saturday.
We're not
I don't
getting,
look at your position as being that type of position, Larry.
well, we're not getting paid. We're just concerned citizens. We're city employees, so we can use the equipment. So we were doing it. We volunteered our time and used the city dump truck.
I still don't agree with that.
Okay.
Police cars. There's 2 police cars at Emos for 2 hours on Sunday morning, and then a third one came in afterwards, somewhere along the line. What were they doing out there?
I don't have any idea. Were they all Farmer City cars?
Yeah.
I don't know.
On
On what?
Sunday.
Sunday morning?
Yep.
Okay.
I'd like to know about that.
Okay.
Do we have anything in the budget or can we plan for the budget for next year to add one employee to the water and sewer group? So woefully undermanned at this point.
Did you ask what
So,
that
so
is?
which department?
I know the meter readers. There's way too much for two guys to be doing, and
Right.
they're not, so they're getting behind on stuff and all that due to that. So, and I know, we've got Mitch with surgeries, things like that. But I mean, I think where are we at on that? I guess because we need to get some more people in there.
We currently have an employee that has taken a leave of absence.
Right.
We have to honor that leave of absence and wait for his either return or retirement. Speaking when the EPA man came in, I asked him about a town the size of Farnham City, and he said that three full-time employees should be able to operate the department properly. Now, if you hire someone to come in now and the person who's on a leave of absence comes back, now you're going to have 4 employees. If you think that we need 4 employees, then we can look for that 4th one. We have summer help that's doing the mowing at the both treatment plants. He's doing some of the light maintenance that he can do out there to help lighten the load. And we're kind of leaving it at that unless there's a change that you guys want to direct me on.
What about like looking at having a part-time person or something like that in the short term
To do what?
to help out with that department, those departments?
What about cross-training? Can we take somebody else from another department and bring them over there and they can help?
Some of the light plant guys, there again, Rick could help with this one. The light plant guys are helping read meters, which lightens the load. They've gone out, they've assisted in changing some of the meters. So there is that help. I just, currently with some of the things that have been evolved, unless you want to go into executive session, I think that the way it is and we'll have an answer in early October on which direction we're going.
Okay.
So I realize that maybe the 2 guys that are currently here have had to tough it out a little bit, but we've had to do what under the advisement of what our city attorney has told us.
Okay.
I think the reader meeting thing needs to be, we need to really start putting together about this remote read meter thing, electric and water both. Because, you can have a police officer reading one night, we've got the thing set up in his car, from what I understand. Or one person can do it in half a day, drive around a golf cart, before you drive around a golf cart. Do that, there we go on that. But this meter reading needs to, we're in the 21st century, we need to get things squared away and do a little bit more efficient way.
And we are spending the money. It's just a slow process.
Well, I think you need to sit there and get the program going and sit there and go after it, not just to sit there and hit and miss it. I think that's what we're doing right now, or that's the way I look at it. We're not getting things fixed that are down, for one thing, and haven't got a list to know how many are down. I like to have that list to know how many meters we do have down. I also like to have a codification book too. Okay.
They've been ordered, and I've asked her, and she's called them a couple times, so they've been ordered now for a good month.
But I think the meter reading really needs to, to start working on that. I mean, all departments, the 2 major departments that have that, because we're going to save ourselves money if we do that.
How many a year are we doing now?
How many a year?
Yeah, are we changing?
I don't know. When I went out there were like 4 or 5 cases of meters that had been sitting there, and
How many are
I
replaced?
think is there 12 in the case, Rick?
Oh, boy.
Let's just say water meters.
Yeah, I believe the standard order at one time was 12 water meters at a time. And I ordered 12 electrics each month.
Well, I think it would be nice, and at least to the city manager, that maybe maybe we discuss priorities, because we can give him, with the limited amount of people that we have, we can continue to give him as many priorities as possible. With the limited people that we have, when we're discussing on one hand, that we don't have enough people, on the other hand, that we need to make something a priority. As to the electric department, am I wrong on this? We have segregated those. I mean, if we are using people from the electric department, we're supposed to be paying the electric department
Right, water.
for their services, because the power department, we are paying for them through our rates. So if they are working on city time, as we discussed when we went through this whole rate increase, the city has to pay them. So as you know, I want to get on this too. I want to get all the water problems taken care of. I want to get all the streets taken care of. I want to get all of this done, but I don't know where we're going to get all the money. So if we have limited funds, we need to probably come together, and I will talk to maybe some to the councilmen, and maybe we can come together on Saturday morning and come up with a list of priorities to make sure that the city manager is on task on that. So if not, it's just going to be a shotgun approach. So any other non-agenda items? I have one, September 9th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the American Legion. We will have an open meeting. Invite the press and the public and the city council to that. We'll be discussing the Casey Swartz project. Any other non-agenda items?
When is that?
September 9th on a Monday. It will be 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Tuesday, Monday.
It is a Monday. We've contacted lawyers, we've contacted the building, I've done everything I can to, I said it one day, and I unfortunately didn't check, or I totally forgot about Heritage Days being on that day, so I had to reschedule it again. This is the only day that we can set it up to give the public enough notice, and before our lawyer goes on an extended vacation notice. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
So this is the day, September 9th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. American Legion, the press, the public, and of course our honored city council members are invited, as well as the city manager and our city's lawyer. We hope to hear from the public. I believe that the city council needs to hear from the public before it makes any decisions going forward. So, any other non-agenda items? We would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Call it.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
Hahn?
Yes.
McKinley?
Yes.
Pearl?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I appreciate all of your time.